Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where sometimes on Saturdays we like to venture away from the world of Sudoku and into the world of other forms of logic puzzle. And that is what we're going to do today with a really extraordinary looking puzzle called Fillomino Whispers by 𝗙𝗵𝗿. Now, 𝗙𝗵𝗿's puzzles are often, as the name suggests, very hard, but they're always of super high quality. And this sort of has a miracle-esque quality. And I say that because there are very few given clues. Now, if I contrast this with a normal Fillomino puzzle, I just clipped one randomly from GM Puzzles earlier. That's what a normal Fillomino looks like. So you can see that there's lots of stuff to get your teeth into. You know, you can start to build the regions, etc. Well, not so much here. Really not so much. I mean, there are a couple of extra rules, but they don't, at least at first blush, seem massive to me. So we'll have to work out what's going on. Is this grid? Okay, it is a Sudoku-sized grid, actually. So that's why it might look familiar. Anyway, I'll read the rules of this one. Oh, by the way, I've got no idea how difficult this is. I did find it on Logic Masters, and there were a couple of comments saying it was a brilliant but quite hard puzzle, but it hasn't achieved enough solves to have a rating, which is slightly terrifying. But anyway, we'll get to this in a moment or two's time. By the way, it's a beautiful day here in the UK. I think summer may soon arrive. What else do I need to mention? Oh, over on Patreon, we've got Mark's solve of the latest Times Club Monthly Special Crossword, which is a great watch if you're interested in hard cryptic crossword puzzles. We also, of course, though, have this month's competition running, Blobz Sudoku Hunt, themed on oil and water. So this was the count yesterday. 1,800 people had successfully completed the intro puzzle, and then how many is that? 576 are eligible to win the prize. So let's see how that's changed. 576, so it has gone up again. 631. It's fantastic. Really, really well done. Competition closes. You've still got 10 days to enter, so do have a go. And if you're currently stuck on sort of oil water zipper, one of the 1,000 people who've solved that but not then graduated to oil, water and glyph, keep going. You'll get to the end. Wouldn't it be great if sort of we had over 1,000 people getting through the whole thing by the closing date? I wish you all luck with that. Now, other news. Oh, was there anything else? I know we're meant to go back to streaming blueprints, and we will do that this week. Do not worry. Some of you have been requesting that we get back to it. We're on the case. We're trying to align our diaries. I've got birthdays to do today, though. Let me look at my list of birthdays. We'll start off in Germany, in the Westwood area. I don't know where that is, actually. Where Barbara, it's your birthday today. And I know this because your sister, Dorothea, wrote to us. Barbara, thank you very much for getting Dorothea into Cracking the Cryptic. I'm always very grateful for people who share these wonderful puzzles with their friends and families, and try and widen the circle of people, because I think there are millions and millions of people in the world who would enjoy these puzzles if only we could reach them. So Barbara, I hope you have a great birthday today with obviously hugely iced chocolate cake. Oh, my phone's going nuts. I've been in one of those WhatsApp conversations this morning, and it's never ending. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Darcy, it's your birthday. You have turned the secret age mirrored. I think I might know how old you are there then. And I think that you were planning to enjoy a late brunch today over there in St. Catharines, Canada, with your friends and family. So I hope that went well. And yeah, thanks for your kind email, and many happy returns of the day. Now, next, I might say this wrong. I'm going to go for 𝗙𝗏𝗋. 𝗙𝗏𝗋? I hope I'm saying that correctly. 𝗙𝗏𝗋. You've turned 27 today, and I know this because your girlfriend Kayla wrote in. I understand you're about to begin your final year of your PhD, so I wish you the very best with that. Kayla describes you as the most brilliant man she knows, and I hope, Hayulan, that you have a great birthday today, and best of luck with that PhD. Next we'll go to Texas, where Janet, it's your birthday today, and it's also, of course, Mother's Day tomorrow, and that's relevant. Oh, sorry, I bashed that. Because the reason I know it's your birthday is your son Tony wrote to us, and said, could we give you a shout out? And I gather that you're a fan of chocolate cake with what Tony describes as excessive cream cheese frosting. Well, I'm not sure there can be such a thing as excessive cream cheese frosting. So we'll cross out that word and we'll just say cream cheese frosting. I hope that you have a great birthday. Tony claims that we'll be at 1 million subs soon. I don't think we will. I wish we would be, but we only grow organically now. We only grow by people telling their friends. The YouTube algorithm, it plods us up slowly, but without ever sending anything viral anymore. So we do need a bit of help if we're ever going to hit 1 million subs. That is sort of one of my ambitions in life at the moment. And I think the main way it's likely to happen is if somebody very famous admits to the world that they watch Cracking the Cryptic. So if you are very famous, please do Mark and I a favour. We would be most grateful, and spread the word about these wonderful puzzles. Next, Catherine. Catherine, it's your birthday. Oh, no, Catherine, it's not your birthday. I've got that wrong. Catherine, it's not your birthday. But your best friend David wrote to say that I think today is your wedding day. I think you're in Austria, and you are marrying the love of your life, who is called Simon. Good name, that. Catherine, I hope it goes tremendously well today. I was tickled to hear that you and David do the Patreon rewards together, but because your favourite number is 5, you try and save the 5s to last and put them in at the end. That is an extra constraint that sounds monstrous. I wonder how often you get to actually do a lot of 5s right at the end. Anyway, Catherine, I hope for you and Simon it's the most spectacularly good day today. I'm sure you'll be having cake, and I hope it's properly iced. And then finally, Rico. Rico in Germany, you've turned 36 today, and I gather you're planning a Viking-themed party with mead and metal. That's fantastic. Happy birthday, Rico. I hope you have a great day. That's all the news. Let's have a look at Fillomino Whispers by 𝗙𝗵𝗵𝗺. I'm slightly worried about this one, but I'll read you the rules and we can work them out together. We have got to divide the grid into regions of between 1 and 9 cells, and fill each region with the number of cells it contains. E.g., fill any 7-cell regions with 7 7s, etc. So that would mean if this was, well, if that was a region, oh, hang on, if that's a region of the puzzle, you can see it's got 7 cells in it. So we would fill all of those with 7s. Now, in Fillomino, if you get a region of size 7, what you can't have is another region of size 7 orthogonally touching this region of size 7. Or to put that another way, let's use one of these 2s. So if that was a 2 region, we couldn't then have another region of size 2 here, because these 2 regions touch one another, and that's too naughty for words. So let's just get rid of all this and read the next rule. Anti-row column. Except for the given 1 in row 3, column 1. The digit n cannot appear in row n or column n. Oh dear. Right. Okay. So that is a very strange rule. So in this column and this row, there can never be a 5. In this column and this row, there can never be a 4, etc. I mean, that might be a big restriction, but at first blush, I'm not sure how. And then German whispers. Orthogonally adjacent digits in different regions must differ by at least 5. Right. Okay, so that explains why I thought the Fillomino rule at the start was undercooked, but it's because it's not necessary. Right, okay, so let's go back to when I drew my 7 region in. So if this was a 7 region, obviously all of these orthogonally connected digits with the 7 region, so all of those orange digits have to be at least 5 different from 7. So that is a proper German whispers constraint. In fact, I think that's very peculiar. I hope what I'm about to say is not solving the puzzle, but I think that means that this shape couldn't exist in the puzzle. I won't say why in case I'm wrong and in case it is solving, but I can see a big problem with certain bits of orange that I've just created there. Okay, I can believe that this rule is powerful, actually. I think that this will do things. Anyway, they are all of the rules. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, the first thing I like to do when we get any sort of region division puzzles is firstly to draw in a black boundary. That always pleases me. And in Fillomino, I mean, these 2 cells here are in regions of size 1, so we can immediately sort of delineate those, can't we? And we should award those their own special colour, which we shall make green. Now, right, this little old cell here has to gain another cell to become size 2. And I don't think that that cell can be here, because we aren't allowed to put 2 in column 2. That was one of the rules. So I think we can also draw that boundary in. And this cell has to be massive, because once we identify definite boundaries, we can play German whispers across the boundary, can't we? So if this is a 2, oh, hang on, does this mean there are no regions of size 5 in this? Oh, hang on. Right, let's talk about German whispers and the properties of them. Normally, the way this works is that we're given a sort of line in a puzzle, and we're told that the digits along the line have to differ in value from one another by at least 5 each time. Now, that's allowed us to learn certain principles about German whispers, which I think some of which are at least are going to be relevant here. The first is, you can never put 5 on a whispers line, because if you do put 5 on a whispers line, the next digit has to be at least 5 different from 5, which means if we go downwards we get to 0 or lower, and if we go upwards we get to 10 or higher. Now, 0s and 10s are not allowed in this puzzle. Interestingly, in Fillomino generally you can have regions of size 10 and higher. I've seen some great Fillominos in the past that have sort of a 47 region or some enormous property. But here we're specifically told that we've got to divide into regions of between 1 and 9 cells. Which I guess is inclusive actually, because we have got regions of size 1. Divide the grid into regions of between 1 and 9 cells. The mathematicians out there might say, oh, well, that's already broken the rules, because you shouldn't have regions of size 1 if it's between 1 and 9. But I will clarify that later, once I know what the answer is. Anyway, what I was thinking is, if we were to construct a region of size 5 in this puzzle, it will obviously have boundaries. There's no way to hide a region of size 5 such that it didn't have any boundaries. And across the boundaries, what are we going to put in the next cell? These have no possible fill. So actually there are no regions of size 5 in this puzzle. Now, the other thing to note about a German whispers line is that it oscillates polarity, is how we would describe it, in the sense that if this is a 1, this has to be at least 6 now, because it must be at least 5 different from 1. So this would be 6, 7, 8 or 9, and the next cell would then be lower than 5 again, because if it was again higher than 5 number, these couldn't be 5 apart. So this would be lower than 5, and then this would be higher than 5, etc. So, just thinking about this, and indeed all of those, all of these digits that I've just highlighted are all at least, well, they're all at least 6, because they've got to be higher than 5. But actually this one can't be 6, because, yeah, this is really interesting. Okay, but this has to be at least 7, because 6 and 2 are only 4 apart. But look now, these can't be in different regions, because if these were different regions, they wouldn't be 5 apart. So this is part of a single region. This region has to get out, so it then joins this region as well. So all of these now, they've got to have the same number in them. Oh, I haven't been checking on rows and columns numbers. It's actually really helpful. I don't know if I can click on, no, I can't click on them. But this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, normally that would be unnecessary, but in this puzzle where we have to keep track, for example, if this was a 7 and it dropped down to this row, it couldn't, could it? If this was 7, it would have to stay higher than this sort of artificial boundary. So if this was 7, yeah, that couldn't be a 1. Oh no, hang on. No, that's wrong though, but it could be a 2. This is a strange rule. Okay, but if this was a 7, it would have to go this way. Then it would bump into that and have to turn up. Oh golly gosh, I can't see what to do at all. Let's colour in these. Let's give them their own colour. That makes me feel I'm making progress. See, this one doesn't seem to do anything. It's nowhere near, you know, the second row or the second column. I haven't got this yet, have I? I don't understand. Okay, so I thought I was doing quite well, and this region, obviously, whatever it is, it does have to grow quite prodigiously. It's only of size 4. It's at least of size 7. And maybe that's the point. If it is of size 7, is there some reason it can't be? It would have to go here. It would join up here. And then it would be size 6. So it couldn't take this one, because then it would join to this one axiomatically. I don't see the problem with that at all. Or is it something to do with how the 2's grow? I was just thinking about that. If this 2 goes this way, yeah, that might be worth thinking about. If the 2 goes this way, all of these cells now have to be higher than, well, 7 or higher, don't they? So that would very nearly complete this shape. And it would drop, you know, it would make, well, actually it wouldn't make. I was going to say it would make this cell unorangeable, but it wouldn't if it was a 9. Oh no, okay, sorry. Gosh, this is actually... Have I missed something about that? There's not many rules, that's part of the problem. Good, I don't understand. How am I meant to know? If this, whatever this is, 7, 8 or 9, it's not going to be able to... Even if it was 9, it couldn't go into this row. If it was 8, it couldn't go into this row. If it's 7, it can't go there. Or is it these? Is there some... Anything I put in column 1 can't be a 1, because that's the only cell in the puzzle that is allowed to be in either its row or column number. So if there is a low digit in this column, it's at least a 2. And actually, if it was a 2, it would have to stay in the column, because then it couldn't go into this column, because that's column 2. So if there is so that can't be a 2 in the corner, or a 1. Ah. Now, could it be a 3? No. Oh, so this cell, okay, I mean, I don't know. It just wouldn't occur to you to start here, would it? Okay, this cell I think is interesting, because it can't be a 1, it's in column 1 and row 1. It can't be a 2 because it would go right and be in column 2. It can't be a 3, interestingly, because if it was a 3, we couldn't let it hit column 3. So it would have to take those 3 cells and it would pen in a 6 at least sized region in one cell, which is a nonsense. So it would have to be at least a 4, and it mustn't go into this column, and it also mustn't block this in, and there's no way of drawing it such that it didn't do those things. Oh no, there is. Oh, there is. Oh, bobbins, I didn't see that. But couldn't it do that? That would make these a 9. Oh no. I thought I was going to be able to at least conclude that that was the same as this. I suppose then we couldn't bump into that, because that would be a size 10 region. I don't know then, that's bizarre. Sorry, I thought it was onto a bit of a breakthrough there. What's the constraint then? How is this puzzle in any way constrained? We can't put 5s. So in I don't think it's I've got 81 cells to fill. Is it something meta? I've got 81 cells to fill, and every time I put a low digit in the puzzle, I'm going to have some number of high regions orthogonally, or high cells that have to obviously then expand to be of the requisite size. So okay, so is it more likely is it the high numbers or the low numbers that are... What's perplexing me here is that I don't understand how the stuff I've been given, which must be so crucial because we've been given so little, I don't understand how to use it. Maybe that can't be low. If that's low, it can't be a 2, but why couldn't it be a 1? And then that region would come out there, that region would come out there. I think that can be low. I don't know. I'm not sure. Or is it something to do... Okay, maybe it's this square then. Because this square can't be in that region. Because whether this is 7, 8 or 9, even if it's 9, it can't go to that square. So that square, does that have to be low for some reason? If it's high, it's not 9. It can't be 8. That cell can't be 8 for the most weird reason. If this was 8, obviously then it couldn't go into row 8. So it would have to trot along row 9. But if it was 8, it would have to be 8 sized, and it would hit this column, and that's column 8. So if that's high, it's not 8 or 9. It would have to be, yeah, it can be 7. It can be 7, because 7, all we have to do is not hit this and not hit this. So it would be 7 sort of wobbling about in here somewhere. And then 6 is even, 6 is, no, it's still 6. 6 is a little bit constrained. Actually, 6 would be very difficult. Oh, maybe that's the point. Maybe it's not. Okay, so maybe I should have extrapolated from 5. So we said 5 couldn't appear in the puzzle. But it must be impossible to put a 6 in the puzzle as well. Because if you put 6 in, 6 is sort of monogamous vis-a-vis German whispers. In the sense that if you put 6, so let's say we'd made a region of size 6, every single orthogonal cell now would have to be a 1. And that clearly would be wrong. So the only way you could create a region of size 6 would be if every single connected cell could not be orthogonally adjacent. So you'd have to create, I don't think it's possible. Is it possible, actually? It might be possible in a corner. Because in a corner you can create a staircase, can't you? That could be a 6. That's ridiculous. Right, so you can do it, but it's very difficult. I don't think you can do it without the corner, because you need to shield so much of the region from repeating 1s. Is that another way of doing it? Is that right as well? That might be another possibility. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I mean, I know that doesn't work in that specific instance, because I've put a 1 in row 1 there. Actually, no, I actually put a 6 in column 6. Okay, so I don't know. Okay, I'm not sure. But okay, so could that be a 6? Maybe it could. No, because that would be a 1. But we thought that could be a 7, didn't we? Otherwise it's low and it's not 1, so it's 2, 3 or 4. If it's 2, it's got to be that. If it's 3... if it's 3, I mean 3 is slightly restricted as a whispers number. All its orthogonal neighbours would have to be 8s or 9s. But I don't think there's a problem with that. You could do something like that. Or even that, perhaps. I'm not saying any of these are definitely possible. There may be very specific, like, picky points that prevent them, but as a general idea, I just don't think it's restricted. The coolest idea I had was that couldn't be 8 or 9. Right. Right. So actually, it's that cell I should be looking at, not that one. Because surely that one can't be 7, I don't think. Well, I mean, this is nonsense. This is very, very hard. If this is right, and this is the most restricted cell in the grid, that is really counterintuitive. I mean, it's actually quite brilliant from a setting perspective, because it's so weird. But why am I excited about that? Well, I've already worked out that it's impossible to put 9s or 8s in this row. But I don't think that cell could be 7 either. Why do I say that? Well, I've got to put a region of size 7 in without hitting this sort of weird boundary. You clearly can't do it. Now, if it was 6, can you do... Oh, no, you might be able to do the... Oh, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. If that's a 6, can you actually do that? So you've got to do 6. I'm just going to fill in some... You've got to do it without hitting this boundary. And you've got to do it in a way that doesn't put 2 1s next to each other on the perimeter. So you obviously can't do that, because all 3 of those would be 1s. So you could have a staircase, I think. I don't believe it. You might be able to do it. Oh, now I found another way of doing it. That also doesn't have. Okay, so this can be a 6, I think. If it's not a 6, it's a very low number. Well, not very low, but it's low. I'm sorry, I haven't got anything here, have I? I do think this cell is restricted. I mean, if it's low... There's something going on. I can't quite grasp it. I sense there's something going on, but I can't quite see it. In this column and this row, yeah, I think there is a point, isn't there? Okay, it's a bad thing because we can't sing, but how would you put a 3 in the corner of this grid? Here, I know what I'm looking at. I'm thinking about this part of the grid basically, because this part of the grid makes it very difficult to put 8s and 9s in, and even a little bit difficult to put 7s and 6s in. And the thing I'm thinking is, if I do put 3, for example, yeah, how do you put 3 in column 9 of this puzzle ever? Oh no, you can, because then you could put 9 on one side of it. And providing the 9, no, why is my phone buzzing? That's fine. Providing the 9 never went into column 9, it would be okay. Now, I was thinking 3 with 8 is very difficult. So if you did... No, I'm still unhappy about this, I think. Oh, this is a really interesting point. Right, if you put a 3 anywhere in this column, what shape does it have? Well, there are several options. There are several options. But I think all of those options give a problem, because even if I do, let's say I put it right in the middle of the column there. I was thinking this was fine because I could see on this side I could put 9s, and that's totally true. But isn't the problem actually arising from these two squares? These two squares now have to be 8s or 9s to obey the Whispers rule. Now, they clearly can't be 9s, so they would be 8s. But then that 8 region must never venture out into the column, and we've worked out already that we can't put an 8 into column 9, because to do so, we would have to stay in column 9, because obviously we're never allowed into row 8 or column 8. And yeah, this is a really good way of looking at it. That is the boundary for any 8 region, and the white cells here are only 7 big, so you can't do it. So if you do put 3, because 3 anywhere in row 9 or column 9 will have a boundary that requires a cell to be placed either, on this side or this side of it, you can't get away from that. Even if you put the 3 in the corner, this cell's still the problem. It's got no possible fill. Now, does this work for 4, is the question. Yes, clearly it's actually easier to see for 4. If you put 4 in, what's this square? 9. 4 only has one possible partner, it's 9. So all these are fine. Even if we shift this up here, this would be a 9 in column 9. It won't work. Right, I see. So what we're saying now is that column 8 and column 9 and row 8 and row 9 I'm not sure whether what I'm about to say is true, actually. There's definitely an issue. Okay, let's focus on just column 9 first. In column 9 and row 9, I can't put any 8s, we've worked that out. I can't put any 9s. I can't put any 3s, I can't put any 4s, I can't put any 5s. So these are 1s, 2s, 7s, 8s. And there's clearly got to be 1, 2, sorry, not 7s, 8s, we can't put 6s, 7s. There's clearly got to be some high digits there, doesn't there? Because I can't fill. Every time I put a 1 in, it's going to have a boundary that has to be a 6 or a 7. And every time I put a 2 in, it's going to have a boundary that has to be a 7. So, sorry if you can see this more clearly than I can. I'm still a little bit, no, I'm a lot struggling. I'll take 1 out of there, 2 out of there, 1 out of there, 2 out of there. I know that's pathetic, but I'm going to do it. I'm still thinking about this square. What's that square? If that's a 1, it has to have 6 on both sides. And okay, let's just have a look at that. See, I think that's really difficult. In fact, it might be easier to prove this can't be a 2. Let's go with that first. If this is a 2, yeah, that doesn't work. Because the 2 is either going to be here or here. And the only region that I can put in these two squares, let's say the 2 was there, these squares both have to be 7. And clearly there's just no room for that to happen. So that's wrong. This is not a 2. You see, if I can force it to be high... Yeah, I don't think this can be 7. We looked at that earlier, because 7, if this is 7 in the corner, it never hits those cells. That's impossible. So it's 1 or 6. Now, if it's 1, I think that's difficult, because both Oh no, these could be... No, they can't be 7s. They can't be 7s because they'll bump into this. So they'd have to be 6s. And they have to be 6s and not bump into this. And what's more, not create like a domino boundary. So we have to create a staircase effect from this. So I'm putting this in because otherwise we're going to hit the black line. So we are in this world. I've got three more cells to fill here, such that I never create a domino boundary. So, oh no, I can do it. No, I can't. That's not orthogonally connected. I was thinking I could do it with those two for 5 and then add that one on, and you can see then I could populate all these with 1s, but of course that's not orthogonally connected to my 6, and whichever one I added the 6 to would create a double 1 boundary. So this I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible. Yeah, I mean actually we can see it fairly clearly. I've got to add 3 cells to this 3 region without creating a domino. I mean, I could do those 2, that creates a domino. So if you have that one, you can't have that one. So you can have that one. This wouldn't be connected. You've got to have one of these. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. There's no way. Right. So I've got something. It's taken me a long time, but I've got something. This is this is really interesting as well, because that's a 6 in the corner, which I originally thought was impossible. But then I saw that there was a staircase, didn't I? So are there any other shapes? So what I'm saying now is that I think that's the only shape. There was another one I found, but I think it would have bumped in, like it was something like that would have bumped into column 6, or if we did it that way it would bump into row 6, or I suppose, yeah, we could do that instead. Probably that would also have been possible, but it would bump into it. So the question is there another orientation here that isn't this that would be valid? And the answer, I'm pretty sure, is no. Oh, that one. That one would work. Okay, that one wouldn't work, actually. That doesn't work. Because if we do that, I can populate all of these cells with 1s, that's true, but then I'm going to have a 1 next to a 2. So that doesn't work. Is there anything else? No, I don't think so. I think we have to do that. It's always difficult with these region division puzzles where you're trying to see whether you're going to miss an option. Okay, but I don't think there is any other option but that. So they are all 6s. These are now all 1s, and hopefully this will get us started. Yeah, this is going, right, 1s we said were green, didn't we? So we can now do at least some drawing in. I can do some drawing in, like that. And what's more, I can see this square and this square now can't be the 2. So the 2 is going in this direction or this direction, which means it will hit, this square will be orthogonally connected to the 2. So this digit here is 7, 8 or 9. That's sort of a 𝗙𝗏𝗪𝗏 type trick. This digit is... Oh, hang on. The other thing we've got to be careful about is that funny old rule about... Because this has to be high as well. This is at least 7, but it can't be 8. It's got to be 7 because it's got to be 5 different from 2. It can't be 8 because it's in the column 8. So there's a region coming out here. Shall I make that orange again or give it a new... I'll make it yellow. It might not be the same number as that one. That can't be a 1 or a 2. Oh, Okay, yeah. So now we sort of use German whispers, don't we? If this wasn't yellow, these two regions would not be 5 apart. So this is also yellow. And that means yellow is 7. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Yellow is 7. So yellow can never go here into this column now. So we can draw this boundary. So yellow, which I've got 3 of, has to have... It's got to take... it's got to take 4 of these 8 cells. And then it's going to have some boundaries. This square here is at least a 7, but not a 7, because it's at least 7 by Whispers rule, so that is 8 or 9. And it comes out here. So it probably can't go down here very easily. This can't be a 1 or a 2, so this is a 6 or a 7 as well. I don't believe that can possibly be a 6. I know that's an assertion, but if it's a 6, I don't understand how you could possibly build it, because it couldn't have a domino, an orthogonal domino, and I think it's too far away from the corner to ever work. I think that has to be a 7. I mean, that's the thing is, that's a bit of an allegation, isn't it? But if, you know, you can't put that shape in because this column would all be 1s. So you have to create something that's very staircase-esque without creating a bad domino. Gosh, the irony is that that's very close. But no, that's got the problem on the right. It's just the reflection of the thing I just drew. I don't think you can do it. I think that has to be a 7. So that's yellow, our colour for 7, isn't it? So this one, oh, this is interesting. What colour's this? It's high, and it must be red, because otherwise it wouldn't be 5 different from red. So that's red, but now look at this. Maybe this was the easier way to go. This square now has to be low, because if this pops over here, these two won't be far enough apart. So this is a new, this is a 1 or a 2 is what it is, and it's delineated that way, which is pushing my 7 across the bottom row. So this is now yellow. Now, we can't go in there with the 7. So the 7 has to live in quite a small area. It's an area of size 9. Oh, I wish I... This, by the way, this is a phenomenally clever puzzle. It's just the way you solve it. It's totally and utterly an anathema to what you think it's going to be. I mean, it's bonkers that you start down here. Well, although it took me a long time to establish that that's what you have to do, but I do think that is what I think this is the most restricted cell in the puzzle. Right. Okay, so what do we do now? Good question. Don't know. The 7, wherever it goes up here, it can't ever cross that boundary. Oh, it's making me feel incredibly stupid. Or is it something to do with what's going on here? Can you put 2 in the corner? The 2 would have to go vertical. Actually, that would be interesting. Can we rule that out? If the 2 goes vertical, just let me think about that for a second. If this 2 goes vertical, this has to be 7. Which would make, okay, and this, so these would be the same. This would, I think, have to be orange then, because it couldn't be 7. Because it's in row 7. Actually that might even be, that sort of almost feels correct, doesn't it? If you put a 1 here, 2, 3, 4, could that loop over it? 3, that would be 7. That would be 7. Oh, I hadn't thought of this. Oh, I sort of had actually. I sort of had when do you remember at the beginning when I was looking at that region and I was saying I put 7s into it and I was like, oh, there could be a problem with that. Here's a new thought. Oh, this is a massive thought. This is a massive thought. I've got a really good thought. Right, in fact, I'm going to employ my thought here. How could that be a 7? And the reason I think that's a problem is that these 3 cells now all have to be low. And they can't be in the same region. And that's going to make 2 low digits hit each other that are not 5 apart. Aha! Right, sorry, you've all been shouting at me about that. Well, I only just grokked that that's what I should be doing. So this is 7. This is something else. We don't know what. It was 1 or 2, I suppose. It can't be 3 because it would be too big to touch a 7. So the 7 then goes here. So we get 2 more bits of the 7. And again, I've got to do this. I've got to employ exactly the same constraint. If this was 7, these 3 digits... Ah, no, that's not true because the 7 could then stick out. Ah. Bobbins. So I have to be careful. So this is definitely low, and it's got to either be so it must be a 2. It can't be a different number than 2 and still be 5 different from 2. So that is a new region. Now both of these are red. It's the same principle again. We can't have different big regions touching one another, or they wouldn't be 5 apart. Now that one, so you've got to bear in mind these row rules as well. This is at least 7, but it's not 7. It's in column 7. So this is 8 or 9. It probably does join to this, I think, but I can't assume that. Now that one. 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 2 more to put in. Yeah, I mean, how could this be a 7 in the corner? I dispute that can happen. I think this might have to be a 2, but I'm not certain. But if this is a 7, the reason I think that's a problem is, can it be in the same region as this other 7? No, because all 3 of those digits would be low. So this 7 has to be its own 7. It's going to have to come out and not bump into column 7. There is no room for it to do that. So this is not 7. Now if this was 6, then this has to be a low digit to separate. So this would be a 1, and the 6 would come out, and the 7 would come out, and then the 7 would touch the 6 here because it couldn't touch the 8 or the 9. So there's 2 in the corner which can't bump into that. So that's a 2 going across here. And this now has to be a 7. And I still haven't... no, I still haven't done this, have I? So, but those two both have to be high now, i.e. 5 different from 2, so that must be a 7. And that completes the 7, and it makes, I can see what this is going to do. This is such a clever puzzle, Die-Hard, honestly. Right, these are now definitely, they are definitely actually 1s or 2s, aren't they? Because they're next to 7. So this is its own region. That is another 2 region. Boom. This one is a 1 because it is in row 2. So that one is a green. And all 3 of these, all 3 of those are now, well, let's put 6, 7, 8 and 9 in. We can do better than that, but let's just put everything in. Now, obviously these 2 can't be 7. And that one can't be 6. And this has to get out. So it's going to go there and bump into this one. So now this is neither. These are both 8s and 9s. They can't be 6s or 7s. So let's make those red on the basis that I don't think that they are going to touch this. Because if they do, we've got a 10 region. Now this can't be a 6 because when it would have to all fit into this little boundary here. So we are getting a bit, I'm getting a bit flustered here. This is tricky. Obviously these 2 are the same and they're going to join up to this one or this one. So they're either doing that or that, and then the other one is going to keep these reds apart. Now, what do we do next? I don't know. Not sure. I suspect it's something to do with this stuff down here. I mean, that can't be a 6. That's very clear. If this was a 2, it would go vertically up, and then the 7 would bash into row 7. So this is 1 or 7. And the 7 is never allowed into this row. And if this was 6, again, this can't be 6, because if this is 6, it's got, well, if this is 6, this is 1. This 7 has to come out and come across here, and this 6 has to get out, and there's not enough space for it. So this is 1 or 7. So it looks very much like these are both 7, but if these are both 7, something up here needs to be 7, otherwise that's a run of 3 that would all have to be low digits, and that would, because they would have to be 2 regions, it would break. Again, how can the corner really be a 6? I just don't think it can be. That would have to be 1, this would have to be 7, the 6 would get out, the 7 would have to not hit this 6 and not hit row 7, there's not enough space. That is nonsense. So that corner digit is not 6. I looked at whether this could be 2, and I quite liked the look of it, didn't I? If that's 2, this would be 7. Oh. No, that's not enough space for that. Ah, maybe I can disprove 2 here now. Maybe I can disprove 2 here. If this is 2, it's got to go vertical. And now this has to be 7. Now the question is now, okay, can we make this a 1? and loop this over. Well, we could, but then the 7 hasn't got 7 cells, so it would bump into row 7. So that doesn't work. This would be 7 as well. We've now got only enough space for that, and that's fails. Because what we've learned is that you can't have 3 7s in a row like this, because these 3 digits now are all low digits, 1s and 2s, and there would be a 2 touching a 1 in that quadrant. So actually now I'm able to say this is a 7 in the corner. Therefore this is not blue. So that's yellow. So can all of this be 7, or must all of this be 7? Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's make it all 7 and then think about it, because now we've got 2 7s to put in such that we don't create naughty problems for ourselves. So would we do that, for example? Then everything orthogonally adjacent to that has to be a 1 or a 2. No, that would work. That might work. I mean, it's really difficult, but that might work. Ah! Wow, okay. Okay, so where were we? We said this was a 7. Okay, I don't know what to do then. I'm not sure. I thought I was going to be able to sort of work something out from that, but alas, I don't think I can. I could make these red, couldn't I? I know that this is either joining here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then that would be something. That would be a low digit. A 1, 2, 3, or 4. Oh dear. I don't know what to do. Gosh, I've got nothing here. I've got nothing. I'm so sorry. I think it's probably obvious now. Can we loop up and go over the top? That would be 7. No. Okay, if this is 1, I think we have got a problem. If this is 1, the only way that this 7 can get out and not hit row 7 is it's got to do that and down and connect. And that again creates a run of 3 that would be illegal. So that is a 7, and that's yellow. Now, is it the same if this is a 1? Oh, that's the right colour. Those would join up. These 3 would be broken. They would be broken. So that is, oopsie, that is a 7 and is yellow. Okay, so we are intended, I think, to think about this bottom row. And now we've got to be super careful, because I've only got 2 7s to put in down here, but I've got to do it in a way that doesn't create too many issues. So for example, one of these must be a 7, because otherwise I've got a run of 3 there that are all low. And one of these, hang on. So if both of those were 7, no, then that would be double 2, and that 2 would be in row column 2. So that's not right. So there is also a 7 in one of these. So there's a 7 in one of those and a 7 in one of those. Let's just sort of indicate that like that. Such that, okay, and it's not that one and that one, because that's going to create 2 low digits here. So it's definitely not those 2. So if it's, can it be ever that one? If it's that one, it's also this one. No, I don't think that's right, but it's really quite complicated to see why. This is the reason why I don't think this works. All of these are now low digits. And this has to, we have to ascribe a low digit to this. And a low digit to the, oh, I've just thought, no. And these have to be 1s and 2s, don't forget. So this has to be a 1, it's in column 2, and this has to be a 2, it's in column 1, and it's going to go upwards and hit this one, and that won't work. So actually, I think we can now say it's impossible for this one to be a 7. That has to be a 7. And now, if this was 7, these would be a 2, and the 2 would be in the wrong column, so that is also a 7. And that, I think, is the only shape that can work. That was complicated. So now, all of these are 1s and 2s. That has to be a 2, it's in column 1. That has to be a 1, it's in column 2. That one has to be a 2, because it's connecting to this and is low. So that is a new region we've just established. That's green. That's a 2 and it can't go east. So it's a 2 and it goes upwards. The fact that actually seems to work gives me some hope. This is now a high digit and it must be orange because it's going to connect to orange. And that's gone into row 7. So orange is not 7, we have now discovered. We can do a whole load of we could do a whole load of delineations. Like this. These both have to be the same because they're both low, so they are 2, they are blue, and that is something that we're entitled to do. And now, oh, orange, look, has been trapped in. So orange is coming out here, and orange is connecting to that, so this is all the same flavour of orange. And the number is 5, 6, 7, so it's still not complete. It's growing at least 1 more, possibly 2 more. Now, this is nice. Right, these are both high, and that connects them to red. So these are both red, and now I don't think that these can connect to this. I might be wrong. So we're on 7, 8, 9. No, so this is a boundary. So this red connects to there, and this is low, and it's 1, 2, or 3, or 4 perhaps. I have a lot of difficulty believing you can have a 4, but maybe you can. So, let's draw in some boundaries. And think, well, I tell you, this can't be a 4 because it's in row 4. That's a very good reason. This, I'm going to get into trouble here. This is high, isn't it? So that makes it red. Now, that's 8. I've got 8, and this one has to be low, because otherwise the red and orange region are the same region, then they are enormous. That's in column 4 as well. So this is a low digit. The thing is, you could, I suppose, make that red, and that would be a 1 sitting on its own. There's nothing that actually prevents that. If that is anything other than 1, it pokes out here, and it would force this to be 1. So if that's 2 or 3, that's 1, that's 1. And if this is... I don't know, 7... It's really weird. Everything here was so constrained, but this big area here, I don't think it is. You know, it's never going to get now into row 8 or column 8. So it's never restricted in that sense anymore. Oh, I've got it. It's easy. This has hit row 8, so this is a 9 region. Well, when I say I've got it, I've suddenly realised that doesn't do it, does it? Because I still don't know where the last cell is. Bobbins. That's infuriating. So although I've got this as red and I've got this as red, that might not be the case. This one could be 8. Wow, okay. 4, 5, 6, 7. If this was orange, is that a possibility? That would all be a 9. These would all be low. This would be a 3. No, that would go in. Oh, okay. So I might have to be careful with that, actually. Oh, right, that's it. That's it. How can this go to here? Oh, this is brilliant. Gosh, this is almost my favourite step, and it's come an hour and 10 minutes into the puzzle. If this is orange, because it can't be 5 away. So this is a 9 region, but these 3 squares are all connected across the orange boundary. So they are all low, and they're all part of the same region, therefore. But that would make them 3, and they would enter row 3. They couldn't be different regions, because then they would be too close together, numerically. So this square is not, you can't go there. You've got to go there, because we know we're at least at a size 8. So this is 8 or 9. Now, what does that mean? This definitely isn't a 3, because where would we take it? It would go there, and then it couldn't go there because it would connect to this, and it couldn't go down because the 9 wouldn't get 9 cells. So that is a 1 or a 2. I'm not sure. Okay, I can do the same thing again. If orange went there, yeah, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Orange is full, and these 3 cells are all low. And we have to give them. We have to make them the same region, and whether we make them 3 or 4, they go through row 3 and they go through column 4, so that cannot be true. So this is not how, if this is 9, it goes there rather than here. So this is a boundary, and now this has to be connected to this. So this is a 1, 2 or a 3, and we know it can't connect to this, so that has to be a 1. And now this has to be high and is 9, which means that's 1, and we are in this world. That's red. I don't yet know whether this is 2 or 3. It can't be 3. It would go into row 3. That's got to be a 2. So that's blue. This is a brilliant puzzle. It's brilliant. It's not easy at all. Right, now look, that's now red, because it's high and it's connecting to this region. These regions have to be kept apart. So this is trapped. This one's trapped in, which I think means it never reached size 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's size 8, that one. This has to be, well, I was going to say it's 1, 2 or 3, but it's not 3, is it? Because it's in row 3. This has to be 1, 2 or 3. Same reason. So these are both 2s now, because they're connected. Yeah, and that didn't hit row this stuff. So this comes out. Phone's going again. Okay. Actually, I might just reply to that if that's all right. Let me just send a reply. That's fine. Right, these have got to both be high, so all of this is one region. Now, that's going to be useful, isn't it? We've got to give that a colour. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a 6, because I think we'll have too many 1s to put in. It could be a 7. I'm going to go for 7. So I'm going to make it yellow, but it's definitely, now this can't be red or yellow, can it? So that's got to be a new, it can't be a 2. So it's 1 or 3, I think. If it's 4, it's going to bump into this. If it's 1, oh, well, this has got to grow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so this has definitely got to grow, and it can't bump into yellow. So that's red. This is a 1, and that's green, isn't it? And this is 8 again. So this should have been orange, I'm afraid. So let's replace it. We can draw all of this stuff in. And all I've got to do now is figure out what's going at the top. This is now, well, that's, I was going to say it is a 2. There is no, it's a low digit because it's got to separate yellow from orange, and there's no other option. It's in row 1, so it can't be 1. It can't be 3. It's going to bump into 3, and it can't be 4. It's already in column 4. So that is 2. That's 2. There's a lot of 2 dominoes we've discovered in this puzzle. And now this, I think both of these have to be the same, because if that's on its own, it's a 1 in column 1 and row 1. So this is all yellow, and is that 7? It is. So that's 7, and that is how to solve Fillomino Whispers. That was really, really interesting. Well, hopefully it's right, is it? Yes. Not many solves. Okay. Well, yeah, and actually that might explain why this hasn't achieved a rating yet on Logic Masters Germany. It's actually, I think, because it's quite hard to start, because it just doesn't seem possible, and the place that you start is so counterintuitive given the givens. But what an idea! What an execution that is! It is fantastic, absolutely fantastic, really original, and I am thrilled actually to get through that one. Let me know in the comments how you got on with the puzzle. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.